So have that mindset. We are already on the way to success. The foundation has been laid. You are the next batch. Please follow on the good work done by your predecessors. And when you are also being changed, you can come here and sing your praises.
You have to treat the community with a high level of human rights. You have to take due process in your arrest, seizure of equipment, and then detention and subsequent prosecution of offenders.
The first batch had complained of inadequate logistics for effective operations at the various sites, but the Chief of Defence Staff assured the second batch of adequate supply of all necessary logistics.
We are giving you sufficient logistics so that there will be no requirement for you to go out of town to go and buy food or even water. We are providing. The government has made available sufficient resources for you to be comfortable where you are, so that you can deliver.
According to the IGP, there have been wide consultations with the various security apparatus in the regions for continuity, even after the operation ends.
As this operation is ongoing, we are in collaboration with RECSEC. And again, you must know that in every region or district, we still have the law enforcement agencies there. This work is going to reduce the work of the law enforcement agencies subsequently.
Meanwhile, the Chief of Defence Staff has bemoaned the sentencing regime for recalcitrant illegal miners as not deterrent enough. He has therefore called for tougher sanctions.
So we're looking a lot more into this story, and this afternoon I've been joined by Chief Superintendent Abraham Akwe, Deputy National Commander, Operation Vanguard. Good afternoon, sir, and thanks for your time. Well, we've lost him on the phone lines, but let's go over to Skype, still staying on the story, and speak to Emmanuel Kutini. He's the Chief Executive for Africa Center for Security and Counter-Terrorism. Hello, Emmanuel. Good afternoon, and thanks for your time.
Good afternoon, and thanks for having me.
Now, what do you make of the first phase of Operation Vanguard so far?
Well, to be very honest, when this task force was put in place, some of us were afraid of the human rights violation that could take place. But to be very honest with you, these men and women have actually conducted themselves very well, except a few skirmishes. And you know, in public policy, there are only unintended consequences one cannot foresee. And on our visit, we realized that the communities we visited, the citizens were so happy of their presence, except a few of them, which livelihood, of course, was suspended, especially to realize that our security agencies across board use the GOTA system. And most of the security personnel we spoke to bemoan the effectiveness of the GOTA, because it was very difficult for them to reach some of their colleagues in certain remote areas. So you realize that we as an organization, we have always called and maintained that the GOTA system is no longer practicable for Ghana, given the times we are living in. And I indicated that if you look at across the sub-African West, the West African sub-region, it's only Ghana who uses the GOTA system. So it should be a wake-up call, and I'll be very happy if the media can champion this cause so that we can put the GOTA into the bin and look for a more credible system that can help us, given the times we are living in. Just last week, you heard the alarm that blew at Accra Mall over an alleged terrorist attack. I think times like this, the GOTA will not be able to help us. I want to commend the CDS. In fact, he has shown very exemplary leadership and has confronted this issue head on when others were of the view, even including me, that the task force might not be able to accomplish what was set out for them. And I'm happy that they are following the standard procedure by rotating the personnel there, because I believe that if they had kept long there, there's a saying that familiarity breeds contempt. So it's a good step the army have taken, and they need to be commended.
Now, one of the things they touched on was, that's for the first batch, is inadequate logistics, and this affected their work. From the story we aired before I spoke to you, or I started the interview with you, how critical is logistics for such an operation?
Logistics is so critical in every sense of it, because you realize that you can only give as much as you have. That is why in every setup we give capacity training to our personnel so that they can be able to deliver. So if this capacity training is given them and they don't have the technology to deliver such training, you realize that it is as good as not giving the training at all. So logistics is so critical, and as the CDS maintain, they are taking every step to rectify those things. And I have no qualms to doubt the credibility of the CDS that will be able to turn this tide around, given what they have accomplished so far. Thank
you so much. Emmanuel Coutinho is the Chief Executive for Africa Center for Security and Counter-Terrorism. But on the phone line now, I'm told I do have the Deputy National Commander of Operation Vanguard, Chief Superintendent Abraham Akwe. Thanks for your time, sir. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon, madam.
Now, we know that your terms of reference for your operations focused on 3 regions, namely Eastern, Western, and Central regions. What is the breakdown of arrest in these regions?
Thank you very much once again. Yes, like you rightly said, we started our activities barely about 2 months ago, and you were fully launched into operation on 31st July 2017, just to give effect to the President directives on the fight against illegal gold mining. We have 3 of the regions to operate within. We have the Eastern region, we have the Western, and then the Ashanti region. With regard to the question you just posed, when it comes to operations conducted so far in the Eastern region, as of 21st of September of this year, they have conducted about 43 operations to the major towns and villages, and they have effected arrest of 108 suspects. I'm using the word suspects because some of them have not yet been convicted. We presume that they are guilty until proven guilty. They are innocent until proven guilty by court of competent jurisdiction. So in the Eastern region, we have 108 suspects. And then in the Western region, they have conducted about 23 operations, and out of the operations, they have been able to effect the arrest of 167 suspects. And then, the Western region, they have arrested 167 suspects. And then Ashanti region too, we have arrested 87 suspects. So in all, we have arrested 362 suspects as of 21st of this month.
Now, also aside from the regional breakdown, one of the things that came up in the story we showed had to do with inadequate logistics, which indeed your superiors mentioned that will be addressed. Aside that, what other activities also hampered your job there on the ground?
Well, as you rightly said, it is in its embryonic stage, and every operation will certainly encounter teething problems. So one of it is the logistics that you have talked about, and the President is in touch, and then he has promised to supply us all the logistics needed for this very operation. And apart from the logistics, well, I would say that let me acknowledge the presence or the contributions of our stakeholders first before I talk about the challenges, because our regional security councils, our district, the DISEC, and then the MUSEC, and some, benevolent individuals who have volunteered useful information to our operations. So they have been doing very well, and we appreciate their efforts. Concerning our challenges, sometimes some of the suspects are so adamant. They sound as if they have not even heard the directives on the ban on these illegal activities. So they keep on working day and night in order to at least prospect good. And that is one of the challenges that we are encountering because they are so adamant. Two, they are still using sophisticated equipment such as this, excavator. They are using excavator. The moment they see us coming, they will just remove the remote control or the control board, just run into hiding. As soon as you leave, they will just come and take them back and then start operating. And some of them are also prospecting for gold in the night. They know that you have not yet embarked on night operations, so they are taking advantage of that to also go ahead with their illegal activities. And some of them are also doing it in their homes. And sometimes it's a bit difficult to detect. So these are some of the challenges that we are encountering.
Thank you.
And some of them are also very hostile. I must be very honest with you. They are very hostile, and they are even prepared to engage us in other hostile activities.
Thank you so much, Chief Superintendent Abraham Akwe. He is the Deputy National Commander for Operation Vanguard, and we're looking at the first phase of their operations. You're still watching Midday Live. The Eastern Regional Police has arrested a 25-year-old man for impersonation and unlawful possession of police accoutrements. Prince Bar was seen wearing police uniform in Koforidua in the Eastern Regional capital.
Suspect Prince Bar was arrested on Monday, September 24, following a tip-off. The police allege, dressed in police uniform, he had proposed love to a lady at the Jackson Park at Koforidua. Days afterwards, the lady's money, however, went missing. She reported the incident to the police, leading to the arrest of Prince Bar. Further police investigations led to the discovery of the police accoutrement in his room. Prince Bar told the police a policeman stationed at Efidiase in Kumasi gave him the uniform and that he bought the rest of the accoutrement. The suspect is to be arraigned before court on Wednesday, September 27. The police has in the meantime cautioned the public to demand the identity of persons in uniform before engaging them in any transactions.
We're still staying on the security front, and the Accra Regional Police Command is waging a war against land guard activities in the region. The command is therefore soliciting media support to enable it achieve the set targets and flush out what it terms a potential danger to human survival.
Activities of land guards have been one of the major worries in the Greater Accra region. Hundreds have been maimed and scores have lost their lives in a bid to claim what rightfully belongs to them. The police especially has been blamed for allegedly not doing its best to control the situation and protect innocent and helpless landowners. In order to stamp its authority, the Accra Regional Police Command has launched a media campaign in order to clear the region of land guards. The Regional Police Commander, DCOP George Alex Mensah, decried the illegality being perpetrated by these social deviants and vowed to halt it. He gave the assurance during a courtesy call on Media General Group in Kanda, Accra.
Accra Regional Police Command is here to solicit your support in the war against land guards. It includes all those who use any means, which is force, to protect their lands. It doesn't matter whether the land belongs to you or not. You are not allowed to use any force in the protection of your land.
The Group CEO of Media General Pelicio Mensah has assured the delegation of the company's support.
Away from that story, Head of Public Health at the Veterinary Service, Ghana, Dr. Bashiru Boykikimoto says misplaced priority by the state has impeded progress in the fight against rabies. Speaking to TV3 ahead of a national event to mark the World Rabies Day on Wednesday, Dr. Kikimoto said inadequate budgetary allocation is a major challenge to the service.
Since we stopped mass vaccinations since 1996, the rabies case has been on the ascendancy. Our major challenge so far has been finances, in the sense that if there are finances, as I showed you the figures, and we are able to cover the whole of the country, all the 216 districts, and we make a coverage of 70% vaccination of all dogs in the country for 3 continuous years, would have reduced the disease burden in Ghana and also reduced the number of dogs that are harboring the disease. And that is why we are thinking that with the introduction of the modernized agriculture of Ghana, we can make a conscientious effort for government release funds to veterinary services to be able to carry out mass vaccination of dogs in the country, because it's easier to vaccinate a dog that just costs about 5 cedis as compared to when the human being is bitten and you have to control the disease. And normally you make the budget and you put all these things inside, but when it goes to the top, the budget is cut to the extent that even these diseases are neglected. And if not, a disease like rabies should have been eradicated long time, but because priorities normally do change, if we concentrate as a state to control animal diseases, give enough resources to veterinary service to carry out zoonotic disease control, by putting in public health interventory measures, I think the country will have a strong state with the people being very healthy.
To other stories, and staff of the Electricity Company of Ghana refused to work for 1 hour this morning in protest to their poor conditions of service. Staff have resumed work since then, and this afternoon I have been joined by Patrick Tetebinyemi. He is the National Secretary, ECG Senior Staff Union. Good afternoon, sir, and thanks for your time.
Thanks for having me.
Now, you started registering your protest yesterday, which we filmed, and today you went on a 1 hour strike. Why that as well?
Thank you very much for having me. And then I want to make this correction. It wasn't a strike. We only took the opportunity to register our displeasure about the way government is handling the issues that we have raised as far as the PSP is concerned.
So how would you term what happened between that 1 hour? How would you describe it?
Well, we have registered our displeasure. We are alerting Ghanaians that, well, this is what is happening. After all, we only took 1 hour. And even within that 1 hour, a cross-section of our staff were working. Cashiers were taking money. The technical guys were also working, and it was only some
you rendered services across the country.
Exactly. It was for only 1 hour. In fact, initially we planned 2 hours, but because of yesterday's rains and other problems we had, we decided that, okay, fine, we're only going to do 1 hour because we have our customers at heart and there is the need for us to attend to them. That is why we have to cut the whole program to go back to the field. And as we speak now, in fact, I went to our Accra East region, sub-transmission, some of the regions, and by 9:30 before I got there, they have finished that program and all of them have gone back to the field.
Is this a one-off event or something that will continue till you get the results you want?
Well, for now, we have registered our displeasure and we are hoping that government will listen to us. We want to get to the table. In fact, this issue of severance payment, we have written to government through the ministry about 2 months ago. The letter has not even been acknowledged. Administratively, if somebody has written to you that, okay, I want A, B, C, D, can we sit down and talk about it? And you have not even responded.
When last did you follow up with it?
In fact, we've been going the last 2 weeks, last 3 weeks. And that was not the only correspondence we forwarded to the ministry. The severance issue was the 3rd or 4th letters that we have written to the ministry, but no response. And we are major stakeholders in this whole PSP arrangement. And if we as stakeholders are not being brought on board for us to look at the way forward, then at Ghanaians, we are first Ghanaians before we became
if you say no response, I know that there are certain measures that you go through or certain processes or persons that you meet. Is it that after you delivered the letter, you've tried reaching them via phone or getting to their offices in person, and that hasn't been possible?
Oh yes, we have tried. Get to the minister's office. Letters were sent there with the messenger's receipt book, which was acknowledged that the letter was received. Get to the ministry there. It is there. And you see, ever since the minister took over, we have made several attempts to meet him so that we can go to the negotiating table. Let us know what government has in mind. Let them also hear us. But it's like nobody is listening to us.
What next?
Well, for now, we'll cross the bridge when we get there. But we hope the government of Ghana will listen to us and then we take it up from there.
Well, you didn't answer my question about that 1 hour phase that you had this morning. Is it still going to continue? Because when I asked what next, you said...
Well, for now, you know, NEC took the decision last week, Friday. Monday, all the regional councils had a meeting to brief members. Tuesday, the regional councils met at the TUC forecourt. And today, we intended doing 2 hours to register our displeasure. But because of 1 or 2 reasons, like yesterday's issues, the rain and other things, and we have our own customers at heart, we decided to cut it to 1 hour. And we are hoping that by that, we only want Ghanaians to know and understand where we found ourselves, because our rights are things that I think we all need to protect.
So will that continue, or you've stopped?
Well, it's not continuing. We are ending that today.
All right. Well, thank you so much, Patrick Tetebinyemi. He is the National Secretary for ECG Senior Staff Union. You're still watching Midday Live. Do stay. Thanks for staying. You're still watching Midday Live. And let's look at one of our headline stories. And workers of Metro Mass protest over poor salaries. My colleague Solis Roscote has been following this story.
Currently at the headquarters of the Metro Mass Transit Limited here in Accra, where it was reported to us that early this morning, that's Wednesday morning, staff of this particular establishment embarked on a demonstration exercise agitating against poor working conditions, and specifically to get their managing director, Bennett Abuaji, out of office, as well as the entire management team. So we're here to find out exactly what's going on. And as you can see, there are hundreds of people here. Work has come to a complete standstill, and we are currently being told that the union is in a crunch meeting to basically figure out exactly what the way forward is. And the union chair, Samuel, they actually just came out, and let's try and have a listen, take a listen to exactly what he has to say.
Almost board no ebe share 2 o'clock. This a board ni be share 2 o'clock dia. Na number say anka yenko ejuma. Ya dia ne say ya ha no mo so mayen. Enti ya sa ko ka kire mo. Ya ba no mo say mu nko.
The long and short of the meeting regarding what Samuel Quaid, the chair of the divisional unit, informed the staff or the working body of the MMT is that management has informed them that the board is going to be meeting them at 2 p.m. today, and that they should go back to work. And obviously, this is not sitting well with the staff, and they are disagreeing vehemently. So as you can see, the seriousness of the situation, tempers are flaring as staff express their disappointment in the system that is being currently run. And some of the things that they pointed out is the fact that high consultation fees are paid as high as 9,000 Ghana cedis per month, and yet the management team claims there's no money. Several of the buses on this particular compound have also been left to rot. Workers of the MMT are very serious. In fact, they mean business. And their position is very simple. The MD must go. And so they're not listening to anything besides that. What will come of this demonstration? Will they get what they are looking for? We will be keeping tabs on this particular story and be updating you as and when we get more information. Until then, I am Solace Rose Quarte, TV3, Accra.
Thank you very much, Nid Solis. And we head to the Ashanti region, still on this story where scores of passengers are stranded at the Metromass Transport Terminal in Kumasi as workers of the company join their colleagues in other parts of the country in this very sit-down strike.
This morning because the state of Metromass right now is in a very serious state, which if we don't get any remedy right now will help us. Currently, the government that came in has given some promises, and then the government also has an assurance of lifting up the company. And so we believe in a trust that anybody, the government of the day, the president of the day, instructs that he should be sent to Metromass as a managing director of Metromass Transit Limited. Is somebody who is competent, somebody who is humble, somebody who is affable, somebody who is effective, to manage the company well, to make sure that the vision and the ideology of the president come to pass to help the people of Ghana.
What do you mean by the state of Metromass is deplorable?
Metromass runs over 1,000 buses previously. Right now, we are around 450 buses nationwide. Kumasi here, for instance, as we speak right now, about 90% of our buses are grounded. And these are minor faults, few of them. Kumasi, I can say, less than 25 buses have major faults that repairing them requires some huge money. The rest, they need certain small items to put them together to come back on road. All that we are hearing is that there is no money. We don't get money. We operate every day. They give us percentage that we ourselves don't like, but we thought management said there is no money, so we just accepted it that way. And then we are looking at that better days would come. And looking at for better days to come, that we need money to pay our suppliers fuel and a whole lot of spare parts and a whole lot of things. We will then hear that some chunk of money is going to be used to buy vehicle. This and many more are of our issues that we are not working today.
You are saying in Kumasi 90% of your buses are down. What have you also been doing to ensure that you put these buses back on operation? Because it's also your responsibility as workers.
Yes, mechanics, drivers, conductors, everybody is doing his part to surprise the kind of work we do over here. There are some parts that we don't even, buying them has been difficult for management. Mechanics still work on those things and then make sure that buses are still on road. If mechanics are to depend on only spare parts to work with, my brother, I'm telling you, the entire bus, the whole fleet of Metromass in Kumasi here would have been packed. We are not rebelling against anybody. We are not taking stance against anybody. We are for the betterment of Ghana. We are for the betterment of our staff. We are for the betterment of the entire people that benefit. Metromass, many people benefit from Metromass, and for their benefit, we are doing this.
Thank you very much. You just heard from the Union Secretary of Metromass Transport here in Kumasi. As you can see, some passengers are also stranded because they are on strike. They came here since morning and they've not been able to access vehicle to their destination. We will keep updating you on this development from Metromass Depot here in Kumasi. My name is Ibrahim Abubakar, TV3 News.
All right, so we'll bring you some more updates on this very story as and when we get them as well in our subsequent bulletins. This is Midday Live. Now, and Finance Minister Ken Ofori-Atta has reiterated the need for Chinese enterprises to take part in Ghana's One District, One Factory to speed up Ghana's industrialization process. He was signing minutes of the 4th session of a joint commission between Ghana and the Republic of China, discussion which centered on development assistance and implementation of the $60 million support for Africa economies.
The Vice Minister of Commerce of China's visit is a follow-up of Dr. Baumia's recent visit to China. The two sides discussed issues on bilateral trade, investment, concessional loan financing, as well as human resource training. They made commitments to further expand bilateral trade to promote economic development and improve living standards of people in both countries.
We are also all aware of the level of debt the country has, and therefore looking at a new paradigm which would encourage private sector Chinese companies to come in here and also take the risk. But it has been an extremely worthwhile engagement.
We feel very confident that the cooperation between our two countries will reach a very high level. So very strong commitment.
The Joint Commission on Economic Trade and Technical Cooperation is a medium-term development assistance agreement expected to be signed every 4 years between Ghana and China to guide the cooperation over the period.
And the National Service Scheme's efforts at supporting government's planting for food and jobs policy has been impeded by the fall armyworm infestation that has hit the nation. An acre of maize farm expected to yield 30 bags of 50 kilograms maize each is currently producing only 15 bags per acre.
The National Service Scheme's agriculture initiative is in sync with government's planting for food and jobs. The NSS is currently harvesting its maize farms nationwide. It has 60 acres of land at Ejura in the Ashanti region, 150 acres at Asiedu-Dartey, and 60 acres at Damongo, all in the northern region, 150 acres at Breman in the Bronhafo region, and 250 acres at Dawenya. The acting executive director of the National Service Scheme NSS, Mustafa Yusuf, visited the Dawenya farms on Tuesday, September 26, to support and supervise personnel as they began harvesting the maize.
This is the 250-acre maize farmland owned by the National Service Scheme here at Dawenya. And we are told by the farm manager that they were expecting 30 bags of 50 kilogram maize from each acre. But due to the armyworm infestation, so far they are making a little over 15 bags per acre.
But acting executive director of the NSS says, in spite of the fall armyworm infestation, they look forward to making 15,000 bags after harvesting all farms.
So far what we have seen is not bad, it's not that bad. We've gotten over 1,000 bags already here, and we are still harvesting. So hopefully we are going to hit the minimum target. We have cultivated over 1,000 acres, and we are not expecting anything less than 15,000 mini bags of maize.
The scheme has so far posted over 5,000 personnel to support the agriculture sector.
2,275 of them are just deployed to support the planting for food and jobs. So if you go to every district, we have NSPs, National Service Personnel, there to support the President Initiative for Planting for Food and Jobs. Aside that, National Service as a scheme, we also have our own farms, and we've deployed service personnel across our farms. And we are expecting that after the national service, they should be able to set up their own farms.
He adds that the scheme only concentrated on maize and poultry this year, but will venture into other cereals and animal husbandry next year. He also disclosed government has released an amount of 25 million cedis to support the scheme's agricultural programs.
Next farming season, you will see us, we will be present in all the 10 regions, and if possible, most of the districts where we are able to secure land, most of the districts.
And that's all for business this afternoon. But next we have sports with Nana Kutrafe. Do stay.